Consumer arithmetic. Our topic for today's lesson is compound interest. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to do the following. Find the compound interest when given the principal, interest rate, and time. And number 2, find the amount occurring using the compound interest and the principal. Can you do this question? John went to the bank to invest $100,000. However, the bank offers 5% interest rate using compound interest. John wanted to keep this investment in the bank for the next 3 years. Calculate the compound interest earned and the amount occurring. You may pause the video at this time and try this question. Once again, we are using a comic strip to teach the lesson. We asked each student to listen carefully, make calculations to ensure that each character is doing the right thing. So, please relax, enjoy, and get involved. Add that to the exchange rate now. Good morning, sir. Sorry for my manners. That's okay. How may I help you? I have $100,000 to invest in now. Okay. We offer 5% per annum using compound interest. What do you mean by that, sir? Well, if you invest, say, $500 at 50% interest rate, your interest would be $250 at the end of 1 year. So, what we would do is simply add $250 to the principal, and the new principal would become $750. And then we would apply the same interest rate to the new principal. So you mean, say, every year you would have new principal and new interest? That's kinda like it. So, how you calculate the compound interest for my $100,000? Okay, simple. Multiply the principal by 5%. And the answer you get will be the interest for the first year. Okay, so my interest for the first year would be $100,000 times 5, then I divide that by 100, which is $5,000. So what I do with this amount now? Well, that amount will be the interest for the first year. But how long do you plan to invest for? Well, for about 3 years, sir. Well, okay. Then you would add year 1 interest to the principal. So you mean, say, I must add $100,000 to $5,000? So my new principal is $105,000. Yes, your principal for the second year would be $105,000. So what is the next step, sir? Okay, the next step is multiply the new principal by the same 5% to get the second year interest. Okay, let me see now. $105,000 times 5, right? And then I would divide that by 100. So my second interest is $5,250. So what if we do with it $5,250? Well, you should add it to the second year principal. Oh, so you mean say if we add the $5,250 to the $105,000, so I would get $110,000, $250. You're correct, sir. And that amount, sir, would be your third year principal. So what is the next step, sir? Okay, the next step is to multiply the third year principal by the same 5%. So okay, let me see now. $110,000, 250 times 5, and the answer to that now are going to divide that by 100 is equal to $5,512.50. So my third interest is $5,512.50. That's correct, sir. But wait, sir, me still not see the compound interest yet, sir. Now, if you add the interest of the first year to the interest of the second year and to the interest of the third year, you will get the compound interest, sir. So you mean say I must add $5,000 to $5,250 to $5,512.50? Yes, sir. Add up everything. So my compound interest is then $15,762.50. Yes, sir. That's correct. So wait a little. So how you find the amount occurring? Okay then, sir. Just simply add the compound interest to the amount you started with. Oh, I see. Add $100,000 to $15,762.50, which is equal to $115,762.50. That's correct, sir.
Do you know what time of the year it is now?
Thank you, sir.
Do you know what time of the year it is now?
Okay, now we're at in summary. When given the principal, interest rate, and the time to find the compound interest and amount occurring, you do the following. Number 1, Write down the principal. Number 2, write down the interest rate as a fraction. Number 3, multiply the principal by the numerator of the interest rate as a fraction. And number 4, divide the answer in step 3 by 100. And number 5, the answer you get is the interest for year 1. Summary continues. Number 6, add the interest for the first year to the principal. Number 7, multiply the new principal, which is the answer you get in step 6, by the numerator of the interest rate. And number 8, divide the answer you got in step 7 by 100. Number 9, the answer you get in step 8 is the interest rate for the second year. And number 10, add the interest for the second year to the new principal for the second year. And number 11, multiply the new principal, which is the answer you got in step 10, by the numerator of the interest rate. And number 12, divide the answer you got in step 11 by 100. Number 13, the answer you got in step 12 is the interest rate for the third year. To find the compound interest, you simply add the interest of each year together. And number 15, to find the amount occurring for the period, you add the compound interest to the first principal. Now let us look at an example. If you notice, I have written down the first principal, which is the amount given in the question, which is $100,000. Then I've written down the interest rate, which is 5%, and I've written 5 over 100, which is the interest rate as a fraction. Then now I multiply the principal, which is $100,000, times 5, which is the numerator of the interest rate, and that will give me $500,000. Then the $500,000 is then divided by what? 100, and then I would get what? $5,000. Now the interest for year 1 would be $5,000. Now $100,000 now must be added to $5,000, and that will give me $105,000. So the new principal, which is principal 2, would equal to $105,000. And then I would take that new principal and multiply it by 5. So that is 105,000 times 5, which will give me 525,000. And then that 525,000 must also be divided by 100, which will give me $5,250. So my interest for the year 2 is $5,250. Alright, how do I find the principal for the third year? Simple. I simply add the principal for the second year to the interest for the second year. So therefore the principal for the second year is $105,000, which I then add to the interest for the second year, which is $5,250. So therefore when I add both those two numbers, I will get the principal for the third year, which is $110,250. Now how do I find the interest for year 3? Well, simple. I multiply the principal for year 3 by 5, and that 5 is the numerator of the interest rate, which is 5 over 100. So therefore the 5 is the numerator. So the principal 3, which is $110,250, that will be multiplied by 5, which will give me $551,250. Now the interest for year 3, now I will have to divide that amount by 100. So I divide the $551,250 by 100, and therefore my interest for the third year would be $5,512.50. So now to find the compound interest, I'd have to add up interest 1 plus interest 2 plus interest 3. So which is interest 1 is what? $5,000. Interest 2 is $5,250, and interest 3 is $5,512.50. So I'll add up all three of them. So therefore my compound interest is equal to $15,762.50. So yes, you have to go through all of these steps to come up with the compound interest. Now to find the amount occurring, I would have to add the compound interest to the first principal, the amount invested at the beginning. So the amount occurring then is equal to $15,762.50, which is the compound interest. And then the principal that was invested first was $100,000. Now, so when you add these two figures, the $15,762.50 plus $100,000, you'll get $115,762.50. And that amount will be the amount occurring. Now you might be wondering, what if you had investment over 4 years? Then you have to continue the steps to find the interest for the 4th year, and so on. Now we're at a try this question from CDP MATHS LAB. Now it reads, calculate the compound interest earned and the amount occurring when $10,000 is invested at 8% per annum for 3 years. As usual, pause the video right now and then try this question. Okay, your answer should be, for the compound interest, $2,597.12, and for the amount occurring, $12,597.12. If you got any of these answers incorrect, then of course you're expected to go back over your steps line by line, because you may have made a simple calculation as to why you're not getting these answers. If you got them correct, as usual, you give yourself a CDP MATHS LAB clap. Now we have come to the end of another lesson created by Ronique Bernard. Always remember to put Jesus Christ first. He is the Alpha, Omega, the beginning and the end. Have yourself a lovely day. Tata. Bye bye.